value from success, growth in discovery. Golden Arrow Resources is a well-funded gold-copper exploration company with proven management and prospective properties in Chile, Argentina, and Paraguay. Golden Arrow trades on the Toronto Venture Exchange, symbol GRG, on Frankfurt, symbol G6A, and the OTCQB, symbol GARWF. For more information, visit us at goldenarrowresources.com or call Sean at 778-686-0135.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Jordan Bateman, Vice President of Communications and Marketing for the Independent Contractors and Business Association in British Columbia. His website, icba.ca. Welcome back to the show, Jordan.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
Jordan, the BC government monopoly on vehicle insurance, ICBC, bragging that it's going to be reducing rates due to its no-fault insurance coming up this spring. But other people in Canada who have private insurance have been getting rebates since last spring due to reduced traffic on the roads because of the virus crisis. What about business in BC? Will you be getting rebates, and should you have gotten those rebates about a year ago?
Well, ICBC has bucked the trend, unfortunately, for those of us who are forced to buy insurance from them when it comes to rebates. Virtually every insurance company across North America has given rebates because claims fell so radically. And in fact, many group health benefit plans also gave rebates to employers because, you know, folks can go to the dentist and other things to claim against the plan. You know, for example, ICBA, one of our side things is we're one of the largest third-party administrators of group benefits in the province. We gave folks a rebate last summer when they needed it the most, based on the fact that claims had fallen off. Not ICBC. No. ICBC, the government monopoly, no competitive pressure on them whatsoever. And a minister who very much wants to pad his stats and claim that his brilliance alone has somehow turned around this money-losing corporation. They just hoarded the money. They kept it and added it to their bottom line. And now, you know, with the transition to no-fault insurance, they claim that they're going to save us all a bunch of money. Of course, they never talk about how much they've increased our rates in recent years, or how when we needed them the most during, you know, the hard summer last year when so many folks were out of work, cars were sitting in driveways because we couldn't go anywhere, they refused to help.
How big of a cost is insurance, and how much would it help businesses that are struggling for mere survival right now?
Look, every dollar is going to help businesses right now. You know, anything you can do to help business stay afloat is going to be helpful. You know, for companies that rely on fleet vehicles, insurance is a huge cost. I mean, just think about it, right? If you run a mechanical contracting company, all of your plumbers need to have vans, tool vans, all those different things. All of that has to be insured. All of them have to be insured based on the people who are driving them now. So if you have younger male drivers, they get charged a lot more than you know, my mom would driving a car. So there's all these different costs that pile up, and yet government, you know, just kind of ran out the clock. You know, refused to ever give a rebate, even though, you know, traffic plunged. You know, think to the lockdown days, March, April, May. There was hardly any traffic on the roads. Some people estimated as low as 10% of the normal traffic. One would presume that that meant far fewer accidents, as few as 10% of the normal accidents. There should have been a fortune being saved by ICBC. There probably was. But again, you know, Dave Eby wants to claim that that's some sort of, you know, genius of his, that he's turned around this money-losing corporation, when actually it was a once-in-a-generation, once-in-100 years pandemic.
Are there efforts to try to get this money to business that needs it right now?
No. Look, the ICBC is going to pass along rate reductions apparently next year. Now, the funny thing is they say it's based on their transition to the no-fault model. But, you know, let's face it, we've just padded their bottom line for a year by claiming far less than necessary, or far less than normal. So, no, there are no plans to help businesses out when it comes to car insurance.
We'll have more with Jordan Bateman right after this.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications. Patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Bateman Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia and the Yukon, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the OTCQB, symbol ABNAF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Bateman's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at batemanresources.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Jordan Bateman. Jordan, the federal government says it has billions in aid available for small and medium-sized businesses that are struggling. The BC government said it had, I think, $300 million for small business to help it survive. How is that money getting out to people, and are there millions, perhaps billions, just sitting on shelves?
Well, you're exactly right. Before the election, the NDP government announced a $300 million fund for BC businesses, saying that, if your revenue had dropped, you could apply to this fund and you could get up to $30,000 in a grant for a small business. Or if you're in tourism, which is obviously even harder hit than a lot of industries, you get up to $45,000. The problems with this program is they made, the turnstile, the entrance, so narrow and so hard to push that hardly any company has been able to get through. Ravi Kahlon, the jobs minister, essentially said you have to have lost 50% of your income at the time you apply. Frankly, most companies, small businesses who had already lost 50% of their income had ceased to exist. And he came out a couple weeks ago and said, well, we've handed out $65 million of the $300 million. Now we find out, through some digging by some good reporters, that actually they've given out $10 million of the $300 million, which tells you that the turnstile for this was so narrow that not everyone, people couldn't access it. Meanwhile, we have small businesses falling all over the place. Just take a walk in any, downtown, any mall, all these different people struggling, and they, the BC NDP just go on their merry ways. So really, really tough to see. We're flagging this right now because the deadline for applications is March 31st. So if you are a small business who fit into the criteria of having lost 30% of your income, apply for this money. Get help for your business. Try to stay afloat. You have until March 31st. It's at bcbusinessrecoverygrant.com if you're looking for the website.
Now, for new businesses that didn't have a track record so they could show how much money they lost, this program's useless, isn't it?
You are exactly correct, and that is one of the major problems with this program, is you had to be around, I think, for 3 years at the beginning, and now I think they've reduced it to 18 months. Todd Stone, the MLA for Kamloops, the opposition critic for this file, called it a red tape disaster, and Jim, it's hard to argue. The red tape behind this was so thick, it was hard for any business to be able to get through it. It's tourism that especially bothers me, because you and I have talked many times over the lack of support for the tourism industry. An industry absolutely gutted by this pandemic. Frontline folks out of work all over the place. People, I worry about what the tourism industry and what options are going to be left once, they get around to vaccinating us all and travel reopens. Those are precisely the kind of small businesses that need these grants. And yet there's been little or no advertising on them, been little or no pickup, because the companies that do find out about it, get, kind of winnowed out of the application process so quickly because there's so many random red tape things. So it's not good. We've got to find a way to help these businesses out, keep them afloat, because, small business is the engine of the economy in British Columbia. And, every small business that goes under, that's a family that's hopes and dreams have been shattered. Those are employees that are out on the street, and that's a loss to our community.
Do you think governments fail to recognize that small business provides over 70% of the jobs in Canada?
Yeah, I think it's very easy in government to forget the little people. And, the NDP government does not have a great background in business or employers or in small businesses. They come generally from, the public sector or from the union movement, not, the folks who are starting the businesses, but the people who are working at them. That's all fine and good, but, you've got to understand, like, the challenges facing small business, how small business owners put their life and heart and livelihoods and savings into these businesses. And when that little, nail salon around the corner goes under, that's a family who's lost virtually everything. Not just their income, but their savings. And, it happens not in this situation, not because they didn't have a dedicated clientele or because, not because they had a bad location or bad services. It's happened because, a pandemic, an act of God. Like, we've got to find a way to help these small businesses wherever possible. So the challenge for Minister Kahlon and the NDP is loosen the restrictions here. You have $300 million. Use it to help these small and medium-sized businesses, not just talk the talk, but actually walk the walk.
Well, I've seen so many government ads on TV bragging about their budgets in the past. How come we don't see government ads saying, here's how to apply for different aid programs?
I have no idea. Like, you're exactly right. There should be programs, if you're going to advertise government, like, that would be the thing to advertise. It's frustrating. We're at the point now in the pandemic where a lot of what the government is saying is frustrating to a lot of us. Dr. Henry, the Premier today, talking about how we all just need to do a little more. Just do a little more to get through this. Well, I think a lot of small business owners are like, I'm maxed out, man. Like, I've got no more to give. It's up to government to give more. You give more, Dr. Henry. You give more, Premier Horgan. You give more, Minister Kahlon. Like, you give us the tools and we'll finish the job. But right now, you're withholding that money from us. You're withholding our ability to make a livelihood. It's such a pessimistic time right now in British Columbia because, you're just seeing these small businesses drop one by one. Dozens of restaurants in Vancouver alone, little service places, little travel agencies, all these different little tourism businesses just fade away into nothing. And, I really grieve with the families who are involved in those businesses and who are now trying to rebuild their lives.
Sure, and even big name franchises like Starbucks, 3 Starbucks closing in New Westminster in the space of a few blocks, including the one at the SkyTrain station, which you think would be busy.
Well, yeah, and people say, wow, Starbucks, giant corporation, blah, 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 But
individual franchise owners.
Yeah, individual franchise owners, baristas working there, putting themselves through school, maybe, supporting the single mom, supporting a family. Like, those are good jobs, and gone like that not because Starbucks isn't a successful brand, not because Starbucks doesn't do its homework when it locates franchises it does, but because, of this pandemic. And you just wonder, like, was there more that could be done? And for these small businesses, if this money had come out in a timely fashion, if ICBC had kicked in a rebate in a timely fashion, would they have been able to survive just a little bit longer?
We'll have more with Jordan Bateman right after this.
Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlan, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Jordan Bateman. Jordan, how is safety going at construction sites concerning the virus?
So far, so good. No industry is perfect, but construction has, by and large, had a very good track record, with the exception of some work camps where living situations are very different than, for normal construction workers. There have been very few cases of COVID transferring on construction sites. And it's because it's a safety-oriented industry. Every day safety is drilled into your head as a construction worker. Safety is number one. Always be safe. Hard hat, gloves, mask. Now we've added, you add temperature checks and disclosures and social distance and washing your hands and hand sanitizer and sterilizing tools. All those different things have been added to it. And construction has pivoted exceedingly well.
Are there still labor shortages in BC construction?
Yeah, there are. And, I think in our last episode we talked about the results of ICBA's Wage and Benefits Survey, which found that 100% of glazing companies that we surveyed in BC need more glaziers, and 90% of companies that do carpentry need more carpenters. There's a huge shortage of workers in BC, even with the slight downturn in the economy that construction has felt because of COVID. Our demographics, generally it's younger, fitter people who come into construction. Our demographics have shifted, and with an aging workforce, we've got to get ahead of that. We're actually celebrating at ICBA. February 8th to 14th is National Apprenticeship Week, and we're celebrating with our members. ICBA is the single largest sponsor of trades apprentices in the province of British Columbia. We have more than 1,200. But more importantly than that, the open shop companies that we represent, together we train 82% of the trades apprentices in British Columbia. So from time to time, you'll hear building trades unions claim that only they're training young workers. That's not true. 82% are in open shop companies that are not unionized with the traditional building trades unions. Those are, that's about 23,000 or so trades apprentices that ICBA and our companies are equipping, training, teaching how to work safely, and bringing into long-term construction jobs.
The U.S. reported a giant upturn in housing construction in December, the best they've seen in 5 or 6 years. Do we expect an upturn in housing construction in BC?
That's a good question. Probably not in the short term, but maybe 2022, 2023, we start to see it rebound a bit. We're anticipating, we saw about a 15% drop in construction last year. We think another 5% drop probably in 2021 before we start to turn it around again. The problem is red tape. In order to build things, you have to have approvals from government. Government has slowed to a crawl when it comes to processing development applications at city halls, rezonings, development permits, community amenity, all those different things have slowed to an absolute crawl. And, that makes it very difficult to actually get those approved, get pre-sales going, get your financing in place, and get into the ground to build it. So our suspicion is maybe a rebound slightly in 2022 and then starting to pick up steam hopefully again in 2023.
Jordan, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thanks for having me.
My guest has been Jordan Bateman, Vice President of Communications and Marketing for the Independent Contractors and Business Association. Does your website list the employers who are looking for people right now?
Yeah, actually, if you go to icba.ca/jobs, you can upload a resume. We'll match you with various companies that are looking for workers. You can have interviews within a week. icba.ca/jobs.
If you have any questions for Jordan or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com, our YouTube channel, Talk Digital Network. Find us on Twitter @TalkDigitalNet. We're also on Facebook. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of Howe Street Media Incorporated.